This is a little video on torque wrench use. So here's the rear tool cabinet at the back of the room. Down at the bottom, you'll find 4 torque wrenches. They're all labeled, so you shouldn't have an issue that way figuring out the right one. This is 1/2-inch drive, 30 to 250 foot-pounds. 3/8 drive, 30 to 250 inch-pounds. So there's a big difference I want to point out first of all. Foot-pounds, inch-pounds. If your specification calls for inch-pounds and you use this big foot-pound wrench, you're going to break that bolt. So make sure you use the correct torque wrench and take good notice in the specifications. Is it inch-pounds or foot-pounds they're asking for? So we also have a 3/8 drive, 5 to 80 foot-pound, and a 1/4-inch drive, 20 to 200 inch-pounds for spark plugs. So there's quite a variety here. Please make sure you use the right one. So I'm just going to quickly grab this one and show you something here. When you're done with the tool, you always turn it down to the lowest number. Not to 0, because there's usually not a 0. Like I said, this one's 30 to 250, not 0 to 250. So if it says 30 to 250, hopefully someone turned this down to the correct amount right off the bat. Yep. So it's at 30, right on the scale here. Foot-pounds. Now, torque wrenches can also measure in metric. And metric, it's Newton meters. N, capital N, little m. So Newton meters. So please make sure when you're using this wrench, you use the proper scale. If it calls for foot-pounds, use the foot-pound side. If it calls for Newton meters, use the Newton meter side. So to adjust it, it's actually quite simple. All right, I'm doing this by myself here, so it's kind of hard. All you do is you pull back this and you move the collar, you twist the whole handle until the reading goes up to what you want. I'm going to do a lug nut on a car, which is usually 100 foot-pounds. So I'm going to take this up to 100. I'm going to turn this up. And right, I'll show you when we're getting close here. Okay, so let's get her in here. So we take this up to 100 and watch, it's going to snap into place. There, see it's snapped into place, so it's locked and it's at 100 foot-pounds. I made sure it's on the foot-pound side, not the Newton meter side. Okay, so I need my socket. Put my socket on there. Make sure I'm going clockwise to tighten. Come over here. And I'm just going to set this here so you can get the idea. No, it's not exactly the best, I know. So, when I put this on here, nice smooth motion, I'm going to just keep tightening it. Now, when it gets close, I can feel it getting tighter. But when I get this set to 100 foot-pounds, this nut, listen to what you hear. Hear that? That click signifies that I'm done. So I'm not going to keep pushing on this. All right, so it is set at 100 foot-pounds. It's making that click sound. So I'm done with that. So then I would do the others and check them. And do a star pattern for lug nuts. There we go, so I know they're all tight. Okay, when you do things like cylinder head bolts, there is an actual pattern you have to follow. So here's a cylinder head. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe the book says tighten them all, step 1, 30 foot-pounds. So I tighten them all to 30 foot-pounds. It's not just a matter of start here and work your way across. There's an actual pattern you have to follow, where normally it might be like start here, then here, here, then here, here, then here, here, then here. So it goes back and forth. So you have to follow the correct pattern and the correct number of steps. So maybe it says step 1, 30 foot-pounds, step 2, 60 foot-pounds. And it might even say something like step 3, turn an additional 45 degrees. Oh, be quiet. All right. So if it says turn an additional, say, 45 degrees, use a Johnson bar, a nice long Johnson bar with the socket, and figure, okay, 45, boom, right around there, okay? So just to keep in mind, it's not just a matter of getting the right tension, it's a matter of doing it in the correct sequence also. And when you're done with your torque wrench, remember I said that you would then turn it down to the lowest number, not just crank it down till it stops turning. So if your wrench said 50 foot-pounds is the lowest number, when you're done with this wrench, then if it was 50 foot-pounds, you would turn it down to that amount and leave it there and put it away in its box. Okay? So that's how you use torque wrenches. So once again, if it's foot-pounds versus inch-pounds, make sure you have that figured out. If it's Newton meters versus inch or foot-pounds, make sure you're using the correct scale on the side of the torque wrench. And other than that, that should be it. So listen for that click or the feel of that click. And that'll tell you you have reached the amount that you have set your wrench to. And that's it.